Moving on, we have the Dragons in the Details, where Constance and Uzma will be going over small details you may have missed in the episode, as well as the fantastic costumes, props, and sets used. After you, Constance and Uzma.
Okay, so the first scene we are going to discuss is Damon trying to kill Rhea Royce. But did he really try to kill Rhea Royce? Because when I slowed down the scenes and paused it, it kind of looks like he slowly moves towards the horse, and when the horse jumps, he tries to hold the reins because it was Rhea Royce who got afraid, and her sudden movement, maybe it was the horse jumped because of her sudden movement. As you can see, he's trying to catch the reins. So I don't think he went there with the intention of killing Rhea Royce. Maybe he just wanted to scare her, or maybe after 10 times being exiled to go see his wife, he finally decided to do it. But it didn't. I don't think that his real intention was to go and kill her. But it kind of things played out that way, and even then when she falls, he was not trying to kill her. He puts his shoe on her arm, maybe just to see whether she can move or not, and then decides to leave. But it was after she provoked him, he picks up the rock and kills her. So as you can see, he's slowly moving towards the horse, and then only after she moves, suddenly the horse jumps and he's trying to hold the reins. And then she falls. He didn't do anything to make her fall. And yes, I'm aware of this meme going around, how much you can justify Damon's crown. But is there any character who is black and white?
No.
Did they make that specifically for this podcast? That's all I want to know.
All I can say, no one is completely black and white. Everyone has their flaws, and so it's okay. What do you guys think? Did he go there with the specific intention to kill Rhea Royce, or was he? Did he just took advantage of a situation? What do you think?
I think.
Go ahead,
Morgan.
Sam. No, go ahead, Morgan.
Okay. I don't think he went there to kill her. I don't even think he necessarily took advantage of the situation. I think he had every intention of leaving her, possibly to die. He was kind of cool with that, didn't really care. But then she insulted his virility. And he snapped because that's been a running problem for him. Told him he couldn't keep it up. Could not finish. Just saying. I think that's where what did it. What did her in.
I think, Uzma, for your sake and your sake alone, I'm going to agree and say that Damon didn't go there to kill her.
And you can see him slowly walking towards the horse and trying to catch the reins. What do you guys think? What do you think, Constance?
I think he's an opportunist. He probably didn't go to kill her, but when he saw that he had the chance to be free of her, he took it. And after we hear from Solar, I wanted to talk a little bit about her armor that she's wearing, because I found out something really cool about that. So I want Solar to go ahead and give his 2 cents on the topic before I launch into her costume.
Yeah. So, do I think he went there to kill her? Yes. I just didn't think he planned on doing it right then. What I definitely noticed was he's like, okay, I'm here, and how can I put this? One, if the sheep are prettier than the women in the Vale, then maybe I should go buy a sheep. I don't know, because she is gorgeous.
She was good looking.
And the second part is seriously, when he was there, it was like, all right, here, I've walked into the situation where I knew the person was mad at me. So what I saw was, all right, I am going to have to kill her eventually, but let me just take my licks right now. Okay. Ooh, she has informants. I definitely saw the thing of, well, I didn't plan on killing you today, but you're down there. And yeah, the insulting of the coxmanship, it was like, since she's expecting me to do it, I'm going to be a dutiful husband and give her the one thing that she wants that I've never been able to give, you know. But do I think he went there specifically to kill her? No. Because one thing we can definitely tell about Damon is, one, he does not ever deny anything, which is kind of fun. But second, he never only has a singular plan. Every action he does is layered. So I think killing her was on the agenda. It's just her falling off the horse like that and him like, oh, you can't move. Well, that's one less thing. And yeah, so I'm with the opportunist thing. So yeah, I will say that, yes, I think he went there to kill her, just not that day. I think he went to regroup and the opportunity presented itself. So, especially after he'd been exiled from Dragonstone and Driftmark and King's Landing and the Stormlands. And it's like, well, since I got nowhere else to go, I guess I'll go home and deal with my wife that hates me. You know, at least until I can kill her realistically. Yeah, that's the thing. So, that's what I think. So, what's up with this armor?
What was the second or third time Viserys said, go back to your
Go to
wife?
your wife, yeah.
Yeah. And he's
And
like,
he'd already
no.
twice asked for a second wife. It's like he's like, I want to marry so and so. You already have a wife. Didn't stop
Okay.
Aegon. Well,
Yeah.
now I don't have a first wife, so
I love the
Yeah, you know.
Targaryen. I love the Targaryen excuse of, "Well, Aegon did it. Why can't I?" So good.
Hey, well, you know
So-
what? A lot of cultures have, what would Jesus do? And it's like, hey, what would Aegon do? He would marry his sister and burn a bunch of people. So I'm going to go for a relative and some violence, you know?
Well, let's talk about the Royces, right? For just a quick moment. You can see that she's got on this very stylized leather and bronze armor. The Royces of Runestone are one of the oldest houses in the Vale that are descended from the first men and were kings of the Vale at one point, up until the point where the Vale started to solidify under the Arryns and everything. But the armor is inscribed with ancient runes that date back to the Bronze Kings and the earliest ages of the first men. And if you get a good close-up of her armor, which we don't have, but there was a user on Reddit named the Great Malagan who was a plate and could read the runes. And the runes are actually taken from Scandinavian law in the Codex Runiscus, which is a documentation of laws and order that were kept among the earliest historical law documents. And the text actually says, if a man wounds another man while the king is in the province, he shall pay a fine for the wound in accordance to the law, 40 marks or coins to the king and 40 marks for the breach of peace to the one who was wounded. So it's kind of ironic that she's got this ancient armor on that talks about somebody getting attacked. And it's thank you, Great Malagan, for that little tidbit, because that's just a fascinating costume detail that they would actually take actual Scandinavian Codex runes and put them on her armor. And I know that's something that prop makers do, is they'll put in things like actual historical text just for the sake of fans finding it and discussing it on the internet. So that's Rhea. So I want to just bring that point up because that's a fantastic little detail that they put in on her costume. So let's go with our next topic then, which is the Driftwood Throne. Ooh, there's some good shit in Driftmark, isn't there? The Driftwood Throne, according to the lore, was given to the Velaryons by the Merling King as part of a pact between their two houses. Now, his stories predate the coming of the Andals, so we're going back to the stories of the first men. So again, very, very old. The Merling King is a god amongst sailors who actually has shrines in Bravos in the House of Black and White. And that's about all we really know. But if we look at this here, it looks like it's definitely made out of a part of a ship. You can see that you've got the more carved throne on the left-hand side, or right-hand side of the throne, rather, if you're sitting on it. And the left looks like a carved bow of a ship. So this is a very old symbol of power for the Velaryons. And it's a really baller move when you invite the king comes to your castle. Nobody's there to meet him. He walks into your throne room and you're sitting on your throne. That's a power move. And Corlys is saying, I've got all the power in this case. But there's...
I thought Corlys was saying, sup.
You're the one coming to me. What do you want? I'm the one with all the cards.
It actually felt like he was doing Viserys a favor when he bent the
Oh
knee.
yeah. He was saying it's like you're in my house, you're gonna show me respect, but you're king. So I'll do the king thing for you. Just out of courtesy. But what else do we got, Uzma? I know there's quite a bit here to look at. There's so many details.
But before that, I would like to discuss the painting.
Oh yeah.
We already discussed this painting, which was in the room with the skulls. If you'll check out one of our previous episodes, you'll see we've discussed this room before. The painting we could see at the time was on the left side, where we saw kraken and crocodiles or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so on the extreme right side of that painting, we can see a ship. And as you can see, there are little shields. And you can see the dragon figurehead. So these are Valyrian ships carrying Aegon's army for the conquest. We've already seen this painting in one of the previous trailers, and we've discussed it in one of our trailer discussions before. You can see this is the painting we discussed earlier, where there was a ship with a dragon figurehead and armies, Aegon's ships. So that's what we saw. After that, we have, as you can see, there's a ship of Westeros. And what else can we see? Constance?
Oh, there's a ton of details. It's like this is his treasure room, right? All of his expeditions, all of his adventures, he brings things home and he puts them on display. There's what looks like an astrolabe up on the top portion over on the landing that looks like it's being held up by several hands. There's a map of what looks like it's either Westeros or Essos. I can't tell from this angle, but it looks more like Essos to me. Because you can kind of see where you marked it as a Westerosi map, but if you look
I
right
think
there,
Westeros is hidden by
Westeros is there. Because
pointy-
if you look right at the very middle, it looks like Valyria, the broken islands of Valyria. So
And this is Essos. This is
I think it's Westeros and Essos on a big map. So it makes sense. He's a world traveler. He would know what the world looks like, and he would have a better idea than most people what the continental shape is.
And is this a statue of a horse?
I think so. Yeah. It's kind of hard to say. There's so much to look at. I mean, it's such a great, richly detailed.
There is this huge shell
There's
next to the
there's a
throne
huge
as well.
nautilus shell, in golden blue. It's just such a beautiful shot. There's so much to look at.
And you can see there's
There's like a city. Yeah, it's like a model of a city over there.
It kind of reminded me of King Viserys' Valyrian structure.
It's kind of similar.
But it's hard to tell which place is it. Is it Driftmark or something else?
No, I don't think it's Driftmark. I think it's another city. I think it's hard to say because we don't know the context between all the background details. But it does look Valyrian in design. It does strongly resemble the King's models. So maybe it's another city that was in Valyria.
Or maybe it is from one of his travels, some other place.
I could be wrong, but it reminds me of Volantis.
Okay.
It's possible.
Could be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking either Volantis or Lys.
Okay. Both of which are good guesses.
We
And
know
we can
it's
see
not
there-
a shy.
And we can see there are men carrying this city on their backs. And
Classic Atlas
Okay,
poses.
yeah.
So beautiful.
And this is the sea urchin we discussed in one of our very first few
Yeah.
episodes, right?
I think so. It's kind of fun to see everything in greater detail. Look, it's Lionel Strong.
And when the fight broke out, it's at first it seemed like, at least that's what I thought, that Sir Harwin took advantage of it and just jumped into the fray because he was enjoying it. But when I rewatched this scene, it seems like he gives him a signal to stop the fight. And he tells him to jump in and stop it, and that's when Sir Harwin jumps into the fight, and later we see him throw Rhaenyra on his shoulders, and he carries her to safety.
They call him
I think
Breakbones
this-
for a reason, right? I mean, the guy's supposed to be one of the strongest men in Westeros, so.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
mean,
this
so
was the
strong,
first
it's his
time.
name.
Wrong.
And this was the first time they had they got a chance to get close and talk to each other, right? And he just throws her on his shoulder and carries her to safety. And what do we have next, Constance?
Well, lastly, we're going to talk about, as usual, Alicent's costume choices. This just seems to be a continuing thread of mine, but it's because the costumes are so symbolic. In this case, first of all, she starts off in her red and gold Targaryen outfit. She's still in her place as queen, right? But as soon as her father's gone, as soon as she's alone and by herself, she changes back into her blue dress. This is because her color is blue. She's always wearing blue when she has a chance, when it's her choice. But comes the time when she's dressed in Hightower green, and let's just stop on that image for a quick moment so I can discuss it. It's a green brocade with embroidery gold on the undersleeves and then a split sleeve coming down from the elbow with an inner silk of a lighter shade of green. She's got gold clasps going across the bust, and you could see a little bit of the décolletage shown off there as well. Emerald necklace, emerald earrings, no crown, no tiara, no jewels, just her hair up in a simple braid. But the important part is this dress is green. This is the color of the Hightowers, and as Larys Strong, also known as Clubfoot, the weaselly little brother of the Strongs, the color that they wear when they go to war. She's signifying that she's done being manipulated by the Targaryens, by her father. She's taking her possession of herself. She is a Hightower. She's not going to be manipulated by her husband. She's not going to be manipulated by her father. She has become her own woman with her own agenda, which is protecting her interests. As Morgan's beautiful introduction put, she's a woman scorned and betrayed. She's been lied to, she's been manipulated, she's been used. This is the first time that she's actually come into her own and is seizing her own power. And this is the Alicent that we're going to see going forward. And if you ever hear us mention the greens and the blacks, this is the greens. This is where the greens begins. So this is a very important moment, and they chose to highlight this with her dramatic entrance into the hall, all eyes on her, interrupting the king's beautiful speech about uniting the dragons, blah, blah, blah. But
it kind of felt like declaration of war.
it was. It really was. It was, I'm no longer supporting the Targaryens. I've been used by them. I've been lied to by them. I am a Hightower. I'm going to protect the Hightower interests from here on out. So she's basically saying that she's ready to start fighting. And it's also the color of envy. Maybe she's jealous of Rhaenyra having her cake and eating it too. She's stuck in a marriage without any joy or passion. Why should Rhaenyra get to have this handsome knight and a husband that's going to let her have her handsome knight? Right. So the green color may have multiple layers of symbolism above and beyond Hightower green, but that's the primary, that's the Hightower's color.
And I think this is the last episode where we have seen her in a black and red gown, because up until now it felt like she was thinking she was a part of the Targaryen family, that she was a Targaryen as well. She was trying to accept their ways, their customs, even though she hated them. The way she talked to Rhaenyra, it felt that way. But it seems like from now on she's abandoning their customs and everything. She will be a proud Hightower from now on.
Yep. That's what this says. So that's all I've got for today for the Dragons and the Details. Is there anything else, Uzma, or is that good for us?
I think that's all.
Okay.
Back to you, Sam.